Lucy, please.
Afternoon, councillors. My name's Lucy Delator. I'm a lawyer here representing Cambridge 137 Limited, and I'm here to talk to you about two specific parts of your development contributions policy. So I want to talk about the term for existing demand credits and also the change on the remission policy. The council's consultation material rightly sought comment on whether it should retain the current 10-year life for existing demand credits or take an alternative approach, including potentially extending the life, providing an indefinite life, or not providing for demand credits. My client's position is strongly in support of a 20-year term for existing demand credits. There are lots of reasons why development in Christchurch has stalled. Obviously the earthquakes, but the consequent delay in insurance settlements, consenting processes, and indeed COVID more recently. From my client's perspective, re-looking at the period that existing demand credits apply is a simple way to support and encourage redevelopment of the remaining barrier sites within Christchurch, and particularly in the central city. I say that you need to give this very careful attention because actually when you look at your remaining barrier sites, there are very few tools in the toolbox, and looking at something like the period in which you allow demand credits to apply is one of the few tools you do have. And so for that reason I say provide close attention to this issue. The other point I want to make is that I think you shouldn't look at this issue narrowly, in that I think the consultation materials focused on the reduction in development contribution revenue that you would receive if you extend the life for existing demand credits. But that's just one side of the coin. Of course, if you enable redevelopment to happen, you receive increased rates on the redeveloped properties. So I think it's you need to be careful not to just look at the $24 million figure, but think about the wider picture in terms of what you're trying to achieve for redeveloped sites. In my client's words, the goal here is long-term rates from completed assets, not creating hurdles to development. Just in terms of some of the technicalities, the council appears to acknowledge that there is growth capacity within the central city. So again, I pose the question, is not extending the life of credits a fair and equitable and proportionate response when you think about what your obligations are under the LGA? Extending the life also wouldn't be out of step with other councils. There are other councils who have longer periods, and indeed there are some councils who I understand who have no time period in which existing credits expire. And when you look at Christchurch and the unique circumstances facing this city, I say, well, this surely of all places is where there's a sound rationale for a longer period. I've taken the opportunity to read the other submissions you've received on this issue, and to my knowledge, everyone who has submitted on the period for existing demand credits is asking for a longer period. The Property Council supports 15 to 20 years. The Roman Catholic Diocese has supported 20 years as an alternative to actually having an indefinite life. The Carter Group have actually said don't charge development contributions at all on vacant central city sites. And I suppose my final point I want to make is you've asked for feedback, you've got feedback, it's pretty resounding, so I really do implore you to take that feedback on board when looking at this issue. Very quickly on remissions, the council's obviously looking at changing its approach. I just think it's a curious response when there's an identified issue with your current policy around remissions to remove remissions rather than look at the criteria. As I understand it from the consultation material, the criteria for remissions being unique and compelling circumstances perhaps haven't been applied in the way the council originally thought they would. If that's the case, look at the criteria, don't remove the option, because I suppose what I'd say to that is you don't know what you don't know in terms of what compelling situation might come to you. And it seems to me when development contributions are such a rigid tool that actually that discretion is quite important for the council.
Thank you, Lucy. That's wonderful. Thank you. Right, Richard is on Zoom, online. I think I see his picture.